I don't want to say I can firmly state, but Krug, this is for you.
I love it.
And I'm not going to say where I got this. I'm just going to say that this is what has been told to me through certain back channels.
You got sauces.
Certain back channels.
You got sauces.
All right, you ready?
I've been ready.
This is one.
Waited all week for this.
This is one brick on the wall. It's only one brick on the wall. And one of the things I love about this conversation is there's no wrong answer. We all can have our perspective here, and we have no clue what Shohei Ohtani actually wants to do or what makes him tick. We got a lot of people who have given us a lot of insight on it. Here's one thing. Certain back channels.
Sauces. Thank you.
The Mets and Yankees could offer Shohei $1 billion.
$1 billion?
And he ain't going. You can
to New York?
You can take them off the board.
Both of the New Yorks?
Bye-bye.
Why? He doesn't want to take a bite out of the Big Apple?
Not his deal.
No?
Not his deal.
The city that doesn't sleep?
Not his jam. Now, the East Coast is not automatically off. However,
stay in it.
I would state that there is only one team about which you should worry if you would like Shohei Ohtani to play with your team on the West Coast.
The Miami Marlins. That's an East Coast team. Yeah. I'm a Marlins. I always want to be a Marlins.
Hey, how come 30-second aside, how come Florida and places in the South, they never call it the East Coast? Like you say East Coast, you're like, New York, Boston. Florida is also the East Coast, correct?
Technically, absolutely.
I think there's a coast there. I've been there. There's a beach.
But Florida feels like if you were going to take a saw and like cut off parts of the U.S.
Could we? That would be great.
You would take out a good part of Texas. Florida, bye-bye, Florida. It would make the country a lot straighter. If you want to straighten that baby out.
Out there with a little fork and knife.
Yeah. Even if we had to lose Louisiana as a result, New Orleans would be a tough loss, but that would be a part of
they're not attached.
The cutoff.
Yeah, they're not attached.
It kind of dangles.
It does.
You're looking at the dangling
like
portion. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's not Miami.
No.
Okay.
No. I think the only East Coast team about which you should have any concern whatsoever would be the Boston Red Sox.
Interesting.
Yeah. And that's kind of circumstantial and quirky. Just some of their relationships that they directly have, some of the players they've signed who are friends of his, some of whom are from Japan.
Daisuke?
Yeah, so...
Matsuyama? Matsuyama?
Yeah, I apologize. But yeah, no. What's the guy's name? They just signed him this year. I forget his name. That's what Yoshida. That's who it is. So anyway, I think keep an eye on them. Still a dark horse. Keep an eye on them. But I would say this. Look, I sort of believe that you can make a case. You can make a reasonable case that this is really mainly, not 100%, but it's mainly about the Dodgers and the Giants. And
no Seattle, no San Diego.
They're at the table.
Okay.
They're at the table, but they both have problems. Seattle's going to have a hard time. If you think Seattle's your spot, then why wouldn't you think Anaheim's your spot? You're probably going to do the same amount of winning with those two organizations.
Which is not much.
The Padres' problem is they have paid $18 billion for their current roster, and all of them are signed through 2058. And so what the hell are you going to do to fit this in? That's their problem. The Dodgers and the Giants offer similar things. Most of them lean in the Dodgers' direction. That I understand. The Dodgers will not be outbid. I don't think the Giants are going to be outbid. I think that the money is going to be fine from both of those organizations. I think they both offer California coasts. The Dodgers offer a more sure thing roster. The Giants probably offer Shohei Ohtani more of the center stage. Wouldn't you agree? The Giants offer like, Shohei, you're our dude. The Dodgers would offer Shohei like, you're our dude, but we got a lot of other dudes, and our city has a lot of other dudes. And this one does too. Steph Curry's got a few more years as the dude.
That would be the only guy who could possibly outdude you.
And he's not going to last the life of the contract
exactly.
at all.
But does that matter to Shohei Ohtani?
I don't know.
And that, to me, is the biggest question in terms of what you're talking about. Because if he really wants to be the dude, then you go to Seattle. And you're going to be the biggest thing since Ichiro Suzuki.
But you got to win. You also got to win.
Not in Seattle, you don't.
No, Ohtani.
He wants to win. Sure.
Like, that is numero uno. Every single person I talk to,
well,
that's
then you
numero
go to
uno.
LA. And that, to me, is what this comes down to. If it really comes down to I want to win, the Dodgers have a better chance to win than the Giants do. And I know it's hard for you to face that.
No, I don't disagree with that. But I think every athlete knows that no place is a sure thing for World Series.
Right. The Dodgers have what? One World Series since 1988?
A half is actually the correct answer.
It's yeah.
But yes, that's exactly right. I think the Dodgers and the Giants can both, without snickering, sit at the table and say over the next 10 years, we're going to offer you 10 shots at like realistic shots at a World Series.
But if you're the Dodgers, I think you could look track record wise and say we have a better shot than the Giants based on roster right now.
Sure.
Which is why, for me, your best chance, if you're the Giants, to land Shohei Ohtani, and let's just assume what you're saying is true, and I totally believe your sources. Let's take the New Yorks out of it. Let's just say it's LA or San Francisco. If you're Ohtani and you're looking at the two situations from afar, and the Giants say, we're going to give you 10 and 500, and the Dodgers say, we're going to give you 10 and 500, whatever the number is going to be, I do believe, whatever, it's going to be the same, right?
I'll take the over,
Let's say
go
it's
ahead.
10 and 550, or whatever the number is.
I think both teams will be totally comfortable matching whatever the other team says.
Let's say that the numbers are identical, and you're Ohtani, and then you're looking at situations, and you've been in Southern California, you've lived there, and you've probably enjoyed it to the extent that you can.
No doubt.
You've never lived here. And all you know about San Francisco is what you've seen when you visited. And San Francisco is not the same city that it was 5, 10, 15 years ago in terms of maybe a cultural attraction. So for me, if I'm the Giants and I'm looking at how can we possibly land Shohei Ohtani, the best way to do it would be to get him in here, give him a 10 or 11 week look, maybe do a little bit of winning, make the playoffs, and show him, hey, we're close to being a winner.
Yeah.
We're as close as LA is. And if you're here and you live here and we can show you the best parts of our city and our area, that to me gives you the best chance to keep him.
I get it. I can't totally dismiss what you're saying, obviously. However, for me, the math is off. And the math is basically saying this, which is, okay, we're going to give, and again, I don't know what it's going to take to get him. I don't know what it's going to take, but I know what the industry is saying. Jim Bowden said earlier today, you're talking about literally a 7 to 10 player deal. That's what they're talking about. Now, I don't know if anyone will do it, because I wonder if y'all understand this. The industry over the last 5 years or so has really gone away from the idea of big payments for 10 weeks. Even look at what the Dodgers did with the Nationals a few years ago.
With Soto?
Max Scherzer is a massive name, but the Dodgers are like, I'm not giving you our top prospect for Max Scherzer. And Washington's like, how about Trey Turner? You could have him too, and he's got another year on his deal. Now we're talking. The industry's not going to give you top prospect dollar for someone who's only going to play for 10 weeks. Now, is this a different guy? Sure. So that's going to drive the price up, but how far up? I don't know if it's actually 7 players, but you're talking about a competitive situation where you may indeed be gutting your entire farm system. So I'm going to gut my farm system on the hope that maybe over the next 10 weeks, I can convince him that here is cool. And even if I do that, I've already been assured by his agents that he is going to go to free agency. Like, the chances of you bringing him in and 7 weeks go by and he's like, I love it here. And they're like, okay, $550 million for the next 10 years. Great. Thank you for the offer. We're going to weigh that against who we talk to 5 weeks from now.
Right.
Like, they're not going to take a deal until you get to free agency. So you already know you're in for a battle no matter how much he likes it here. To gut your farm system for that to me is bad math. And I'm still stuck on if Shohei gets here and he loves it, wouldn't he look at the team and be like, I really wish you had kept all those prospects.
Right. Because he knows these prospects.
No, absolutely. This is the industry,
He
Dibs.
watches Carson Wisenhunt every time out.
His agents do. They
Sure.
probably rep a bunch of those guys. Shohei does not. My point is this. Shohei does not want to join a gutted system. He wants a team that is going to be fruitful for 10 years. So aren't you potentially working against yourself in free agency by acquiring him now?
Depends on what you define as gutting your system, because I believe the Giants have more than 5 or 6 good players in their farm.
They do.
If you've got 15 or 20 or 25 good players in your farm system, then you're not really gutting your farm system.
But they're not top guys. You're
not going to give up your top 7 guys in the farm.
If somebody else is, then you have to in order to acquire him.
Who else would? Because if the notion is that the Rays aren't going to keep him, and this to me becomes the interesting part of this whole conversation, because according to your sources, the New York teams have no chance to sign him. So to me, the list of possible free agent destinations goes a lot smaller if the 2 New Yorks are out and Boston's maybe in and LA's in and the Giants are in and maybe Seattle's in. I don't know who else would possibly be in, because according to all reports, not only your sources, but everyone we've all talked to, he's a West Coast guy. He wants to be on the West Coast.
Well, the others will try. I mean, the Rangers will get a meeting.
Yeah, you'll try, but you won't gut your farm system for a 10-week rental. If you're the Rangers and you pretty much know that he's not going to sign with you for 10 years, then you're not giving up 6 prospects to get him.
See, I see it the other way. That's exactly the team that would acquire him, because what the Rangers or the Rays are thinking, especially the Rays, you're the Rays, right? You don't want to spend $500 million on a player.
You won't.
You don't have that. But what do you have? Well, you've got a really good farm system that keeps spitting out good stuff. You have a great record, and you have a chance to win the World Series right now. So they would do it in the old traditional way, which is let's acquire a good player to help us win the World Series this year. And that's their focus. Their focus isn't signing him long term. But
I still don't think that they would offer up 6 or 7 of their best prospects.
I don't know. I don't know where that negotiation's going to go.
Plus, they would use him as an opener anyway. So I'm immediately.
Well, by the way,
Ohtani, we're going to pitch you twice a week, just an inning each time.
Here's one other thing that I will say.
Totally.
They better all be considerations, because here's one thing that I will say. I have definitely been given the indication matters to Shohei. Wherever he ends up, let him do exactly what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Now, that does not mean bark a lounger berry.
No, it means pitch once a week and play the other 4, play 4 the other 5.
Right. Do you want a 6-man rotation? Do you want to pitch only on Tuesdays?
Exactly.
Where do you want to be in the lineup? How do you want this picture to look, Shohei? Let him answer that and then do it.
I can't imagine any of the teams out there in Major League Baseball wouldn't go along with that. And I think about Gabe Kepler, and this is another reason why I would love to have him in for 10 weeks, because Gabe Kepler can show Shohei Ohtani exactly what they do in terms of manager-player relations, because you've talked about it, and many people on the beat have talked about it. These players love playing for Gabe Kepler and his coaching staff. He's very transparent. He's honest. He's a former player. And I think if you could show Shohei Ohtani exactly how you would use him and what you're going to do to make him the best player that he can be, and you give him that 10-week look in the city by the bay, I do think that he's more likely to want to be here.
I might surprise you with this. I don't think Gabe is perfect with his relationships in the clubhouse. I don't think that. I'm not perfect.
I'm laying out so we can cut this.
I don't think he's perfect, number one.
He's so stubborn.
But here's the larger answer to that. I think we overrate how much the manager matters.
Oh, see, I think we underrate it in terms of exactly what you're talking about, which is, as a human being, tell me what you want me to do.
What are the chances Gabe Kepler is still the manager in 2035?
Quite good.
You think?
If this team is going to win at the level that you want to win at, absolutely.
Well, I mean, maybe. I mean, he's young enough.
I mean, 2035 is a stretch. Let's just say 2030.
but I'm talking about the length of Shohei's deal.
Which is 10 years, probably.
Okay.
10 or 11.
Yeah, 10 or 11.
But,
okay, so 2034, 2033.
Sure.
Point being is, if I'm Shohei Ohtani and I made a list of things that matter to me, how many things do I write down before I get to the manager of the team that I join?
Maybe 3 or 4.
Oof, I think 10 to 15.
For me, number one is winning. Can I win that?
Yeah.
And the reports are that he wants to win. Of course, not every athlete, by the way, quote, wants to win like he wants to win. I think it was, Alex Cobb speaking at the All-Star game, talking about him being the most competitive person that he's ever met in his life.
He's very Durantish. Which means
he's got a burner account?
Not that part of Durant.
Oh, sorry.
He's Durantish in that it's like, it's just baseball. There's nothing else.
Right.
There's nothing else in that life. There's some video games, got some friends. I like the beach. I got a girlfriend.
Baseball.
Ball.
Right.
What time's the game? 6? I'll be there at 11. Baseball.
Yeah.
That's it. So that's the focus. So, all of the other, the money.
The nightlife and the restaurants and the culture.
Doesn't matter.
But I do think in terms of baseball, so yes, baseball and being able to win is number one. Number two is the money, and the money's going to be there. So maybe that's not even on the list because you know that you're going to, like if you're Shohei Ohtani right now and you think about free agency and you think, I wonder if I'll get $500 million. Yeah, bro, you're getting $500 million.
You want to know what he's going to get?
Can you imagine what that would be like in terms of you and I worry, quote unquote, about this and that and money. And oh my God, have you seen the price of milk? And guy's going to get $500 million no matter what.
Oh, it's funny. Right? Everyone keeps asking, what's the contract going to be? I have a new answer for it. Stop putting numbers on it. What's the new contract going to be? Whatever he wants it to be.
Right. Letters. Forget the numbers.
Whatever he would like it to be. That's what these teams will do. And again, this was supported by Bill Shakin, LA Times, who joined us last week on this topic. The two teams that are most positioned to handle that aspect are absolutely the Dodgers and the Giants.
The money.
Shohei being 500 is great. How about 600? I think there are two teams right now in baseball who are like, yeah, man, we're ready. You want 600? Okay, that's fine. That's the Dodgers and the Giants.
Not the Mets and the Padres.
Well, the Mets can do it, but again, off the table. I believe off the table.
And I don't think the Padres could do it without major roster maneuvering.
Yeah, it's like we don't have a reason to think that the Padres can't other than you just look at their payroll and go, they can't, right? They can't.
Well, Soto would be gone.
Well, the Padres would just do, but we know what the Padres do. Preller will walk in and go, we'll give you $700 million over the next 100 years. We'll Bonilla this thing. That's what the Padres will try to do, and I don't think that's going to speak to it.
No.
But, the Padres are not to be completely dismissed in this.
Well, they've made some of the biggest splashes in the past few years. So you're right. But I think in terms of if Ohtani is all about baseball and winning, then yes, it would be, in my opinion, beneficial to bring him in and show him the sort of winning culture that's been established here. Now, I know they haven't won the World Series with Zaidi and Kepler and Patilla and the rest of them, but they've been competitive, and the way they play, it's winning baseball. This team feels like it's a cohesive unit, and it feels like it's an organization where you could come in, and if you're the best player in the game, you could make the kind of impact to turn this team into a winner. Let's go to the phones, and again, if you're a Giants fan, do you go for Shohei now or do you wait? 888-957-9570. There's also a really cool question on YouTube that I want to bat around a little bit that we'll go to in a second. But let's go to Matt in San Rafael. Hey, Matt, you're on Willard and Dibs. What are you doing, Matt?
I'm just driving back from the city to the North Bay listening to you guys. And
sweet.
I listen all the time. So first off, I'm having PTSD. I was listening to you guys during the Judge situation and then the Correa situation, and here we are again.
Here we are.
I feel like this is another sweepstakes, only the thing is, if you hear me out, I think that, like you said, the money's not an issue. You would probably have to mortgage the future in terms of the farm, and I think if you had 10 guys in the system coming down the pipe that are worth a Shohei Ohtani, then you don't need Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani is amazing, and he's losing in Anaheim. If you give away this amazing pipeline of young talent you might have in the minors to get him, then you're just Anaheim North.
Yeah, but Matt, you're looking at this from the baseball standpoint only, and it's way bigger than that. The Shohei Ohtani contract will pay for itself, and whether that matters to you or not, it matters to Giants ownership. You know what I mean?
I totally agree, but you just hit the nail on the head. That was my next point. I was saying anybody who wants this is doing it to sell seats, and we just go back to being Barry Bonds in the early 90s when we couldn't win, but look at all the home runs. And as a Giants fan, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I want to get back to it being a party at Third and King every game and having young homegrown talent saying, look at these guys, these are our guys, not we bought a shiny plaything so we could sell seats.
And some would say, including myself, why not both?